It was April 2011 when we inaugurated the Halima School, and after inaugurating the school, we were on our way back. I hadn't, since Halima passed away, and 3 years before, I hadn't actually worked, properly, earned. So I'd done bits of consultancy work, but I hadn't really done anything work-wise. My mind wasn't on that. My mind was all just on the charity. So um, I was sitting in the airport lounge on my way back from Pakistan after inaugurating the school and thinking, what am I going to do when I get back? And I knew I'd never work for anyone again, and I'd only ever worked for people. I'd never worked for myself before. And I was sitting there, and I picked up this magazine, and I knew that whatever I did, it had to link with the charity somehow, um, and that I needed to do something for myself, that I'd never worked for anyone. And I opened this magazine, I think it was Time magazine or something like that, and there was an article. It opened at this article, and it was about women in refugee camps in Syria, the Zatari Syrian refugee camp. And in this refugee camp, it described how women had to tear strips off the bottom of their dresses, their abayas, to fold up the fabric and use as sanitary pads, as menstrual pads, and all the other horrible things that they had to suffer. They were scared to go to the loo. They were abused by the people that were supposed to be looking after them, the soldiers and that sort of thing, having fled from their homes, after being bombed and so on, and having lost their husbands or their brothers and, sons. And it was mainly women and in these camps. And on top of that, their basic, menstrual product needs weren't being met. So they were resorting to that, and they were having to do all kinds of awful things to get the things that they needed to feed their children and to look after themselves, like having to exchange sexual favors in exchange for food and things like that, and it was a report by UNICEF and other charities had inputted into this report. And as soon as I read that, I literally saw myself giving pads to these women. I knew that that's what I was going to do, and I started planning immediately, like on the plane. I was making notes, and in my head, I was already doing it, straight away. How I was going to do it was a technicality, because in my head I'd already started doing it. That's what I was doing now.